Hey crew, I am so excited to be doing another live stream. As you can tell, my voice is going a little bit, but I am so excited to be here with you. If you can take a moment and go on the live chat and just message and let me know if you can hear me, that would be awesome. Just let me know. Awesome. Okay, I just got confirmation that you guys can hear me. So that is great. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions on the Google Doc for each unit. I am ready to go and answer your questions. And if for some reason you still feel a little bit foggy when I get done with the live stream, feel free to send me a message on Remind or an email, and I'm happy to clear it up even more for you. Okay, let's get going. So here we go. The first question that I got was, can you review son, las, and alas? This is always a big topic of discussion. And yes, I am more than happy to review son, las, and esla, or son, las, and alas. So let me share with you my screen. And I will show you where I'm at. Okay. So when you're talking about son, las, and alas, here's the big difference. You have que hora es, right? Que hora es means what time is it? Okay. With what time is it, you have two options to answer that. You have it's 1, and it's 3, it's 5, it's 10. So when you ask que hora es, literally the only time you use that question is if you just want the time. You're running around, you're like, hey, what time is it? I need to know what time it is. That's when you answer with esla and son las. And remember, esla is only used for 1 o'clock, no other hour. Okay. Now, when you guys get, sorry, I'm getting all these, I'm getting messages in. Okay. When you have a que hora, so you're asking at what time. I know in English, we don't think we're saying at what time. For example, what time is the orchestra concert? We really are asking at what time is the orchestra concert, right? And when you answer, you have to say at 1, at 7, at 8. You have to have that at. So if you have this in your question, you have to have that in your answer. If you don't have an in your answer, then it can't be a que hora, and you can't answer a que hora without an in your answer. At what time is the concert? It is at this time. At what time is Spanish class? It is at that time. So I'm going to give you a little practice real quick. So if I asked, I'm going to put this in here. Que hora es? Without looking at what I just did, to say es la una or a la una, based off the question que hora es. If you said es la una, you're exactly right. That is exactly what you would put, because you can't put a la una because you didn't ask at what time. You just said, hey, what time is it? Right? So again, the big thing you guys want to look for when you're talking about time is it a que hora, at what time, meaning you have an in your answer, or are you just saying, hey, what time is it? Hey, it's 1, it's 2. Now, something that I would recommend to do is I would go on where it says final exam time practice on Schoology. And if you're struggling with time after I just talked about that, I would go in and definitely do that activity to see if it cleared it up a little bit for you. Okay? All right, I'll bring you back to me now. Oops, maybe. Okay. Okay, so now let's take a look at kind of what the next question I got was, how many different greetings and goodbyes are we expected to know? Obviously, all your greetings, hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Those should be totally solid by now. As far as goodbyes, really the most popular, I would say, adiós, hasta luego, nos vemos, hasta mañana. Those are your big ones. You probably won't really see hasta la vista used a lot. I mean, it's going to be used in conversation, but not necessarily on formal assessments. So again, greetings and goodbyes, you should be pretty solid across the board. And if you're worried about those, if you go back to the Tema Uno Quizlet set, it will be on there. Okay. Can you review the difference between say and te? Absolutely. Okay, let me share with you right now. You guys with me? Everything going good? Okay, let's see. Okay, so when we're talking about your name, right? My name is, your name is, his or her name is. This is going to make sense for a couple reasons, right? If you guys remember with gustar, me te le, it's very similar here, me te se, right? So that's going to be easy as far as that goes. What starts to get a little bit tricky is when you have these things right here, okay? This is what I want you to look at. When you say I have in Spanish, how do you say that? You say it tengo, right? Oh, just like llamo. When you're talking about yourself, it's going to end in O. How do you say you have in Espanol? If you said tienes, you were right. Take a look at what the to form is, the you. This, and this one ends in an S. All right? And these things are not interchangeable. It's always me llamo. No matter if you're a girl or a guy, it's always me llamo. Always te llamas and always se llama. Okay? So again, even if you have to go through to yourself and say, me llamo, te llamas, se llama. Se llama. Again, when you get those patterns in your head, that's going to be a little bit hard for you to forget. All right. Let me bring you back. Is that very, so I just saw a question that said, why is it plural for llamas? Why is it llamas? Because it's, thank you. Good job. Thank you very much, Jordan, for answering these questions. Conjugated verb. So just like all of our charts that we're used to, that is another chart that we're working with. So thank you guys for helping each other on the chat. That is awesome. I am geeking out over you guys helping each other. That is so good. High five. Hold on, air high five. Ready? Okay. So the next questions I had were about vocab, about the words month, day, weekend, city, town, all that kind of stuff. So just to kind of go back to get a little bit of refresher for you, let's look at that together. Okay. So your word for month, mes, you probably saw that on the Kahoot today, right? It said, hay 12 meses en un año. So that's your month, día, which sometimes people get confused with this. Hoy. Hoy means today. Día is just your word for day. Semana, week, fin de semana. Obviously, if you think of the finish of the week. Año, you guys do a really good job with. Hora is a cognate. Segundo is a cognate, and so is minuto. So a lot of those are cognates, which is good. Sometimes, like in the past with semana, when people had trouble with it, I would say, see ya in a week, man. See ya in a week, man. So if that's a memory trick that can help you, semana, see you in a week, man, then that'll be good. Okay? And the words for city, town, and country. Town you don't hear used a lot. In Spain, they do say it. If it's not a big city, they will call it a pueblo. And sometimes, really, if it's a small town, they call it the pueblo. But city, ciudad, and país. You're going to hear país a lot when they say, like, de qué país eres? What country are you from, right? Or ¿cuántos países has visitado? How many countries have you visited? You'll hear that probably a little bit more in upper levels than you do now, but it is important to know that vocab because ciudad, like you'll hear que ciudad all the time. If somebody says, ¿de dónde eres? And you say, oh, Ohio, an immediate response would probably be, que ciudad, what city? So those are really relevant vocab to know. All right. All right. Are we hanging in there? We're doing good. Are you guys all comfy in your jammies at home, sipping hot cocoa? See, that's why I love YouTube live streams, because you can be comfy at home. Do we need to know all the months of the year? Absolutely. You guys should know all the months of the year solid by now. Enero, right? Okay, say them with me. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. And quick question, are months of the year capitalized? No way, Jose. No capitalization on months of the years. Now, question I got also is just in general. This is a very general question. And let me see. Oh, is the people are wondering about the listening portion when you guys have that on Thursday. The question was, is the listening portion based on the past, is it easy, medium, or hard? Based on student opinion in the past, it is easy. And that's, again, based on their opinion. I would agree with the same. As long as you know your vocab well, you'll be totally fine. That is, the listening is, I don't expect you guys to have trouble with that whatsoever. Oh, good. I saw a question on the live stream. It says, I thought ciudad was a verb to take care of. Thank you for whoever helped out and answered and said cuidar is a verb to take care of. All right. Good, you guys. Let's see. All right. Again, guys, those of you that are on the live stream chat, if you're watching the video, it's the chat right off to the right-hand side. If you have any questions, keep putting them in there. And if you know them, feel free to answer them for your classmates. And if you don't, I'll make sure to scan through to see if I can answer them. Okay? All right. So that covers Tema 1. We are done. Good job, you guys. Let's move on to Tema 2, which was describing hair, eye color, things like that. The first question I got was, how do you know which description is the best description? Say you're going between two words and you're like, I really think these both could fit. I think they could both work. That's when you want to come up in class and ask me and say, Senora, and this makes sense to me. If you can read out the question to me completely and you can fill both of those verbs in the blank, at that point, it isn't a matter of you not knowing it. It's a matter of truly you being confused in English as far as what the best answer is, and I can help you with that. So if you get to that point, if you're like, oh, I really feel like it could be both, feel free to come up and ask me. Much just because you want to pace yourself well, having 80 questions in 53 minutes, you don't want to be too cautious. You can still be cautious, but you don't want to ask so many questions and then it makes you run out of time. Okay? All right. We are moving right along here, you guys. Does the hair and eye color match the gender of the person or of the hair and the eye? This is always a big question I want you guys to know every year. So if you're still feeling like, I think I know it, but I'm not sure, you're not alone. Okay, so take a look at this example that I have here. Maria tiene el pelo castaño. Okay, this has to be castaño because pelo is masculine. It does not matter that we are talking about Maria. I am not saying Maria is brunette. I'm saying her hair is brunette. Okay, same thing if I'm talking about eyes. Say she has, I'm trying to think about, okay. Maria, we'll do with Maria again. Maria tiene los ojos pardos. Okay, so if you're looking here and you're like, oh, it's Maria, why isn't this feminine? Because what you're really describing is the color of the eyes. You're not describing the color of Maria. You're talking about her eye color. So that's important to realize. And this will be a good example. Take a look at this example. This is the difference. Maria, es castaña. Okay. If I'm talking about castaña, right? Who am I talking about now? Am I saying Maria's brunette or her hair is brunette? At this point, hair is nowhere in this sentence. So it has to be castaña because I'm describing Maria. In this sentence, I'm describing the pelo, so it has to be castaño. Okay? So the big thing to think about is, what are you describing? Are you describing the hair, right? Or are you describing Maria? You have to think about what your adjective is having to match to in Espanol. Okay? Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if for some reason I need to do another example or clarify, and I am more than happy to do so. All right. If you're talking about, would it be the same? I'm getting a question. Would it be the same colors as eyes if you're talking about the hair color? I'm not sure what you're asking. Maria, let me know. I need to know that. And I also just saw a question pop up. Wait, do we need to know all the VQ verbs? You do not have to know VQ verbs until next semester on your assessments. So if you are not solid with VQ verbs as of tonight, those are not on your final exam, those will come up in Unit 5. But again, you should be aware of most of them because they could come up in readings, they could come up in sentences, but it's not necessarily that you are going to use them in sentences. Thank you for keeping it real with each other on the live chat. I appreciate that. Okay, so now the next one was, why can you put S and to next to each other in the same sentence? Okay, I'm going to try to interpret what you're thinking. So as you guys know, you can't put two conjugated verbs next to each other. This was the question. Why can I have these two things next to each other? It's because S is a verb and tu isn't, right? Tu means your. So that doesn't mean anything. That's just a possessive adjective. So that's why they can be next to each other. So, ¿cuándo es tu cumpleaños? That was a good question. I just think that you were probably thinking that to might be a verb. But again, you can conjugate verbs next to each other. You're fine. So that was a big question, I think, as far as it came with to. Okay. Let's see what we've got. Why do colors change based on gender and amount in Spanish and not in English? Same thing, like we don't say blues, right? We don't say blues jeans, we just say blue jeans. Language formation. In Spanish, it is just they have the masculine and feminine rules that we don't have in English per se. So you always have to be aware of the gender of the noun in order to make the adjective work with it. So I think that's the main reason, is because we don't have feminine and masculine nouns in English. So we don't have to worry about changing our match it. Okay. Can you review the rules for adjective agreement? For sure. Again, this is a big topic of Unit 2, and you're not alone if you're having trouble with this. Let me know, guys, in the chat if this is helpful and if I'm answering your questions. Okay, so in terms of adjective agreement, you've got a couple rules, okay? The first one is if it ends in a vowel to make a plural, right, you just add S. So inteligente ends in a vowel, so to make a plural, you just add an S, inteligentes. Bobo ends in a vowel, so to make a plural. Okay, now if it ends in a consonant, so for example, the letter R, to make it plural, you would add ES. Okay, another example to that would be if you're going from the word country to countries, país, país, or let's do mujer, that's a good one. Mujer, for woman, to make a plural would become mujeres. So consonant, you would add that ES to it. Okay. Now, if an adjective ends, and this is just for adjectives, if an adjective ends in the letter E, for example, inteligente, fuerte, amable, those are the same gender for every person or thing you describe. When it ends in a vowel is when you're going to start see it changing. Okay. So again, they could be bobo or boba, or if there's multiple, it could be bobos or bobas. All right. So another one would be like gordo. So gordo would have every single change the boba does because it ends in an O. Na trabajador, just like its friend hablador, right? If it ends in that R, you're going to start adding things to the end to make it feminine. So trabajador for guys, trabajadora for girls, trabajadores for multiple guys, right? And trabajadoras for multiple girls. So that is a big reason why you've got that is, again, there's a couple different rules, but the big thing is if it ends in an O, it can always change if it's an adjective. It can match it. And again, if it ends in the letter E, don't touch it. Don't change it. Okay? All right. Let me check in with you guys. And I'm going to check the chat. Make sure you're with me. Okay. I'm going back and looking through. Yes, colors are adjectives. That is, somebody asked that. Let's see. What? Okay, I'm just looking through and colors are adjectives. Without, oh, okay. Let me see. How do we know when to use the word without conjugating? For example, just use ir and tener by itself instead of tengo. Okay. Let me see. Let's see. Hold on, I'm going to come back to that one real quick. The question I got was, how do you know if you're talking about a male or female if the adjective ends in an E? At that point, you're going to have to look at who you're talking about. So again, if it's la estudiante es amable, the la is telling you that it's a female that you're talking about. Same thing if you say el chico es fuerte, it's el chico. So the fuerte is you're going to know anyways. You're always going to have that subject, or it's going to be in a context where you're going to know whether it's a guy or a girl. You just have to look carefully at the sentence that you're reading to figure that out. Now, the question somebody asked was, how do I know when to leave it just tener and ir? Okay, let me share my screen with you guys real quick so I can show you that. All right. Okay. So an example for when you would just leave it in infinitive would be, I am going to have a test. Yo voy a tener un examen. Right? This would be tener because you need to say to have. And you already have a conjugated verb right here, right? Ir plus a plus infinitive. I am going to have an exam, right? So again, ir, infinitive. And what do infinitives end in? AR, ER, and IR. Or you could say, yo tengo que ir a la clase de mate. So again, I have to go. You are wanting to say to go in this sentence. You need to say to have. What happens is when you do this, when you say yo tengo, that means I have. To put this, let me just replace it. Oops. Well, that didn't work too well. Yo voy a tengo. What you would be saying is, I am going, I have an exam. And you don't want to say that. You want to say, I am going to have an exam. So those are examples when you would use tener and ir in sentences. Okay, thank you for that question. I'm glad I'm able to follow along with the live chat right now. Okay. Oh, and I see there's some class competition going on too. We'll see tomorrow who pulls it out. I'm excited. Let's see. And no, it does not just go with tener and que. It is, let me show you guys real quick. Oh goodness, got too many docs up. So to answer your question, Millie, when you're looking at the sentence, yo voy a, you could replace this with anything. Yo voy a recibir. I'm going to receive an exam. Yo voy a estudiar para un examen. I'm going to study for a test. Yo tengo que llegar. This is where if it's an infinitive, you can leave it in there. It doesn't have to be tener or ir. It's just a matter of if you got a conjugated verb up here, same thing like with me gusta. Me gusta llegar, llegar temprano. Because gusta is technically a conjugated verb, this cannot be conjugated next to it. I just have to leave it llegar. Okay, because you're saying I like to arrive early. Okay? All right, guys, you're hanging in there with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope, guys, this is really helpful to you guys being at home and being able to watch this and not having to stress about staying after school. Okay. Will you ever have to choose between using un and el? And I'll share with you guys the two questions that I'm looking at real quick, just so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at number 6. Will we ever have to choose between un and el? Oops, oh, that's where that went. Or la and una on a test? No. If you get a sentence, it is going to be a matter of, can you tell me, is it going to be a masculine or feminine thing that goes in front of it, right? So I'm not going to be like, oh, you better know if that's the or that's a. Absolutely. But tomorrow on the test, it'll say something like, I don't know. It'll say blank examen. Okay. And you're not going to have to pick whether it's el or un examen. You're only going to have one of those options to go to. So if you know it's masculine, then you'll be fine with that answer. And the last question I have for tema dos is, let me make sure you guys, okay, good, you're with me, is somebody said, why is it that when I say she has a boyfriend, why is it un novio? Because this a is directly connected to this word right here, okay? I'm not talking about the girl whatsoever, okay? I'm talking about the boyfriend. And because boyfriend is masculine, this word right in front of it has to be masculine. So again, you have to think about, does this word match up with whatever's coming after it? Okay, that's the most important. This doesn't matter at all. Okay, it matters what this un is going with. That un is matching up with the boyfriend, a boyfriend. Okay, so here we go. We're moving on to tema tres. Take a minute, and I'll give you just a second if you have questions about those topics, just to put them in the live stream chat so I can see if there's anything that you guys are still doubtful about from units 1 and 2 before I move on to the last 2 units. There aren't a ton of questions about the last 2 units, but there are some really good ones. So I want to make sure to get to that. So I will wait just a second and see how you do. Let's see. All right. And Millie, some of your questions are advanced questions that you aren't going to see on a test. That goes into next semester stuff. So that's just why I'm not hitting them yet, because I don't want to confuse you in front of that. Yes, if you had multiple fathers, that would be padres. Padres is also parents. Thank you guys for answering these questions. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to see if there is anything. Okay. All right. So again, that document closed. If you have questions, make sure to post them in the chat, or you can message them to me afterwards. But I had to close the document. That way I don't lose where I'm at in the live chat. Okay, crew, here we go. The next question, so we're starting on tema tres. So family, tener, possessives. So what are the rules for possessives? Okay, so first thing we have to do is we have to sing the song. You know that whenever I'm on YouTube, I have to live stream at least singing one song. Okay, ready? Here we go. Me is my, your is too, his, her, your, their, all are su, nuestros, our, vuestro, your all's, possessivos they are called. Me is my, your is too, his, her, your, their, all are su, nuestros, our, vuestro, your all's, possessivos they are called. Thank you very much. Thank you. But now let's talk about the rules for possessives, okay? Examples up here that I'm going to show with you guys. If you're wondering how in the world did I survive a semester so far with this lady, I know, you still have 6 more months with me. Okay, so to say our house, all right? And again, if you have to, somewhere off to the side of your test, me, tu, right, su, nuestro and all of its buddies, vuestro and all of its buddies, and then su again. So that's essentially your possessive chart, okay? If I want to say our house, first thing you have to know is you have to know the word for our, okay? And that would be nuestro. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you work with possessives, they always have to match in gender and in number with whatever follows them. So since it is house, it would be nuestra casa. It does not matter that it is multiple people. It matters that this matches up with that. Okay, so this is a matching game. The first word always matches in gender and in number with the second word. Okay, so now think about how you would say his dogs. Okay, his, her, your, their, all are su. So you know it's going to be su of some type. And if you've got perros, you have to make sure this is sus perros. Because you have multiple dogs, this has to match up with it to be multiple. Okay? Now, a question I got was when it says your cars, how do I know if it's tu or if it's su? I try to trick you, but just for future reference, the difference is tu is informal your, and su is your formal your. Kind of like how we have tu and usted, tu with the accent in usted. You got a formal and an informal. You have the same thing here. So let's say this is the informal your cars. What would that be? That would be tus carros, right? Your cars. Because it's carros plural, this has to be tus. All right? And then what about my dog? That would be mi perro. But what if I just did this? What if I stuck an S on that? What would happen now? Two things would happen. One, this would become dogs. And two, this would have to match up with it to be mis. So again, when you're working with possessives, guys, they are always working with whatever comes after them. Really, a lot of stuff works like that. If you think about what we just talked about, un novio, that works with what comes after it. These work together, casa roja. It's a lot of playing a matching game in Spanish. You just always have to make sure things that are next to each other match. And that's a big deal. Okay? All right, let me check in with you guys, see how we're doing here. Stop the screen share, and I'm going to look in to make sure we're okay. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So if it's his house, it would be nuestra because casa is feminine. Thank you guys so much for all your help to each other. That's awesome. I really, really appreciate that more than you guys realize. And that shows a really good leadership quality in you. The next question I got is what pets will we be expected to know? All of them. You should know that conejo is rabbit. Tortuga is turtle. Serpiente is snake. Now, here's the question. Is it el serpiente or is it la serpiente? It is la serpiente. It is an exception to the rule, so that be careful of that. Perrito would be puppy. Hamster, that's an easy one. I'm trying to think of your other big ones that you should know. But any of them that are on the tema, if you want to look at it, the tema tres, it says la familia y las mascotas. It's that Quizlet set. Any animals on that Quizlet set, you should definitely know from here on out. And that covers Unit 3. Holy cannoli. We are on to Unit 4, guys, the final unit. And you're hanging in there with me. I appreciate that very much. There is, and then somebody just asked, is there a Quizlet only with pets? No. And if you want to go through, for example, that family Quizlet set and just star the pet ones to study, you could easily do that. Not a big deal. Yay! Turtle is not torta. That is a sandwich. And hopefully you're not eating a turtle sandwich. That would be disgusting. Tortuga is turtle. My goodness. Okay. Here we go, guys. The final unit. Let's do it. So the first two questions I got were about gustar. Okay. And let's take a minute and take a look at the uses of gustar, because these are, again, I believe there are 6 questions on your final exam covering this topic. So you want to make sure that this is clear, not just for your exam, guys, but just when you're speaking in life, you always want to try to be as accurate as you can. The more accurate you are, typically, the more you can blend in speaking in society. You know, if you're messing up things right and left, people are going to know you aren't a native speaker. Pretty good accuracy. They're going to think, ooh, do they speak Spanish as their first language? Okay, so let's look at gustar versus gustan. Here's a couple rules, and I try to put them all together to help you guys, and I'll share this doc out with you guys when I get done as well. So if it is gusta, you've got a couple ways that it can be gusta. Singular, and let me make sure that I shared that with you. Okay. If it is a singular noun, pizza, it is gusta, right? One noun, it's got to be gusta. A verb, it is gusta, right? An action. And if it's 2 verbs, 10 verbs, 30 verbs, it is still gusta. If this word is next to a verb, it's always going to be gusta. Okay, no matter what. It does not matter how many verbs are there, it's gusta. Now, what happens sometimes is people will see this, me gusta comer, and this is a total lie, and you guys know this, uvas. Okay? People will be like, oh, it's plural because you got uvas. Be very careful, because what it's next to is comer. Because comer is a verb, it's an infinitive. This stays gusta. Okay? The next two, so when do you use gustan? The only reason you're going to use gustan is if you have multiple nouns. So, me gustan la pizza y la fruta. Sometimes people are like, well, wait, that's just one pizza and one fruit. But it's two nouns. So it has to be gustan. Okay? And this one would be uvas, right? Me gustan las uvas, because you've got multiple grapes. That's why it would be gustan. Okay? So again, gusta, and I'll even put it down here. Gusta is for, sorry if I'm echoing. I feel like my office is echoing. It's for singular noun, so just one noun, or a verb. Okay? And gustan is for multiple nouns. And again, I'll share this document with you when I get done so you guys can go back and review the notes that I'm putting down. Okay? So singular noun versus multiple nouns. All right? I hope that's helpful. Okay. And somebody just wanted me to remind you, you guys of the things that are thought of as singular in Spanish. For example, la clase and la familia. A conjugate for these two words. Okay? When you think about, oh gosh, here we go. Insert, we're going to see how quick I can do a table. Okay, don't judge me if this isn't fast. Oh, daggone it. Okay, let's go on to the next page. If you were dealing with la clase and la familia, guess what? Let me see if I can highlight that box in red. We'll see if it happens. Okay, that's not happening. Oh my gosh. Oh no. I feel like I keep getting it. It keeps going away. I'm getting click happy. That's my fault. Regardless, if you are dealing with la clase, la familia, it is going to fall under this box, right? So for ser, la clase es. For tener, la clase tiene. For ir, la clase va. For estar, la clase, oh gosh. So when you think of class, it is one class, right? When you think of family, it is one family. So it is always, no matter what verb you're working with, it is always going to fall under that box right there. All right, let me see if we've got any questions out there before I continue with the next stuff. Okay, seeing stuff come in. Okay, so my last few questions have to deal, the next one is, will we have to know what foods are masculine and which ones are feminine? That, for example, merienda is snack, but it ends in an A, so you should be aware of that. Foods really shouldn't give you trouble in terms of being masculine or feminine because they pretty much are what they are. There's not going to be any tricks to that. But the last questions I got are about Core 4. And let me take a minute to kind of explain to you how Core 4 is going to show up on your final exam. On your final exam, and this may get a little bit of celebration in the, I'm going to watch the chat to see if there's celebration that is going on, is you only have to know in its forms, ser and its forms. You are not going to have questions where you have to pick, is it ser, tener, ir, or estar? That is not going to show up on your final exam. So if there's a little mini celebration in your home right now, I can understand why. Will you be required to be using that next semester? It is just not formally assessed. So if you know your star chart, and I'll give you an example of kind of what I mean by that, then you do not have to worry about the Core 4 and which one do I use where and what trigger words am I looking for. So hold on, let me check to see if there's any mini to see. Okay, good. I see a little bit of celebration. Good. Okay, so that is probably going to make you guys feel easier. So or feel a little bit better. Take a minute. Oh, Pepe. Gustar is the verb to be pleasing to. So gustar does not technically mean to like, to pleasing to. And Lola, are all classes feminine? If you say la clase de in the sentence, it is feminine. If you just say español, then that's going to start following your loners and dionsa rule. But if you have la clase de, that adjective that describes la clase de always has to be feminine. Okay, so here we go. The last stretch, okay? We can do it, right? Okay, here's the end. Thank you for everybody that's watching too. The final step in our, oh man, I'm on the wrong window there. Ah! Sorry, I'm jumping between so many windows. I'm a little tab happy here. Okay, so the last thing for Core 4, charts, you're good. Okay, if you need to write them on your test tomorrow, you can. You might feel good about it. Here's an example of an A* question that you would get on your test tomorrow. Oops, Mariana y yo blank en casa. And you would have to pick from the choices. Oops. Estoy. Están. Oh, goodness. Están. Estáis. What is going on with my letters? And then let's say estamos. So this is all you're going to have to do is you're going to have the same 4 verb conjugations. Oh, my goodness gracious. And you just have to pick which one makes sense. It would be estamos, right? Mariana and I would make we. Let's do one more. Let's do the verb ir. Okay? And this will be our sentence. Felipe y Joaquín blank a la clase de arte. Okay, your options. You would have va. You would have vais. You could have van. Or you could have vamos. Okay. Joaquin go to the art class. It would be they go to the art class. So it would be van would be your correct answer because it would be they go. So when we're talking about Core 4 in terms of your final exam, if you know your charts, that is what it's going to look like on your final exam. Okay. All right. I'm going to check in real quick before I do the last question. What else lingering out there? But let me see. Van, good. Thank you guys for answering on the live chat. I appreciate that. Yes, I just saw a question that says, is the test on Schoology? It will be just like your midterm where you'll have the test. Let me make sure you guys are with me right now. Okay. Where you'll have the test packet on paper and you'll bubble in the answer on Schoology. So the reason it's so important that you guys do those final exam practices is because you're going to have to move at a speed that allows you to not only answer on paper, Schoology, be on Schoology, but you're going to have to bubble in your answer on Schoology. That format as your midterm. And it is all multiple choice. So there's no need to write anything the next 2 days. And like I said, if you work hard tonight and you get all those Schoology practices done and you study the Quizlet set for the final exam to do on Wednesday night, because I expect you guys to all do really well on that. Okay, so wait, I'm not sure what your questions are. Are there a lot of accents involved? There are not. You're not going to have to pick an answer with an accent versus not an accent. Not on multiple choice. That only comes into terms on your writing. So now that the writing's done, you guys can be accent free and you don't have to worry about us trying to that. All right. The final question is Sarah versus A*. Okay. Again, you don't have to feel totally solid about this going into tomorrow. You definitely should be almost there though. I would say in terms of, sorry, I wasn't sharing my document with you. In terms of accuracy, you should be kind of at a 90% right now when you're working with SARE versus S star. So between SARE versus S star is SARE is, oh gosh, permanent. Is that how you spell permanent? And a star is temporary, okay? Meaning it can change quickly. So let's go through this. Let's finish strong on this end together. Okay, doctor. D stands for description. O, occupation. C, characteristics. T, time and date. O, origin and nationality. Is I put an extra R in there, is relationship. So again, if you have a sentence that deals with any one of these things, you have to use the verb ser, all right? And if you're using the verb S star, twinkle, twinkle, verb S star, how you feel and where you are. So again, this would be feelings or emotion when you're dealing with S star. Okay, so again, your feelings, that is the same thing. Feelings and location. So again, where you're at the time is temporary and how you feel is temporary. So that is the main difference between SARE and S star. But again, you're not going to have questions where you have to pick between SARE and S star on this test. You will on the midterm for 1B. So that is the earlier you can grasp that topic, the better off you'll be. Okay, let me see. Let me see if there's any last minute questions. Let me see. You do not. Okay, so Millie, yes, good. Millie, I will talk to you about your question in class. I get what you're saying, but I don't want to confuse people. Yes, Ravi, it would be Jose tiene 20 años because he has that many years. You wouldn't use S. It would not be yo soy. You can't say I am. Because think about when you ask the question, ¿Cuántos años tienes? You ask, how many years do you have? And you respond, I have so many years. All right, guys. If this was helpful, let me know. If you want to do a quick Quizlet Live for maybe like 10 minutes or so, give me a yes in the chat under the YouTube. And I really appreciate you guys being a part of the chat. I appreciate you watching, all of your hard work this semester. And it just means a lot to me that you take time and take advantage of the resources that I'm offering. So let me see the responses to see. Okay. All right, I'm seeing some yeses out there. Real quick, what I'm going to leave you with are there's 2 resources that I would take advantage of tonight. Okay, make sure that you're on this. One is this Quizlet set. These 117 terms are the 117 terms that appear on your final exam. Again, they're going to look really random. Okay, but the better you know these, the faster you're going to be able to move through your assessment, and the more confidently you're going to be able to move through your assessment. So this is a gold. This is gold. I would definitely look at that. The other thing is this folder, guys, this 1A final exam review folder, you need to take advantage of everything that's in there if you're feeling even the littlest bit worried about this test, because there are so many resources to help you. I'm trying everything I can to make you successful. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and look out for a text for Quizlet Live. Adios, bebés.